Of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Howdy ho, everybody. Coming to you cordless from glamorous Minneapolis. It's Thursday night, July 23rd, 2026. Not 2023, 2026. I am Jim Peters, and welcome to another edition of Jim Peters at Night. This is episode number 371, if you're keeping score at home. Our guest tonight is Brandon Smith. He's written a book called Nothing Was Broken about, well, kind of sort of alcoholism, but not really. And he joins us now from Manhattan, from his office. Hi, Brandon. How you doing?
I'm good, Jim. How are you?
I'm very good, thanks. We had a little technical snafu here. I was running around like an idiot on the floor trying to fix stuff, but we got it running, so it's all good. Okay, so first of all, let's have a little bit about your background. In your publicity materials, and forgive me, Brandon, I didn't get a chance to read your book. In your publicity materials, it said that you had a very successful career, but it was generally sales. What precisely did you do?
Well, I wore a lot of hats in my career. I'm originally from Canada. I started in seismic labor and then moved into sales, Pitney Bowes, eventually oil and gas. I had a chain of retail stores with my ex-wife in high-end lingerie and swimwear, and took a leap out to New York City, and I work for the Hilton Club in Manhattan now. So I've done a few different careers.
Oh, that's very cool. That's very cool. Mm-hmm. And now I didn't know this. Your father, your biological father is Rex Smith, the actor, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And now I kind of pieced this together from reading his biography. Did you not know him growing up?
I did not.
And so, are you the person that he said he met his son literally at a autograph line or something?
Correct. Like that? Outside of Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Broadway show.
Well, so you were obviously adopted or something like that, or?
No, actually. So my mom was the first woman in Canada to be a Columbia Records rep. So she was like Mary Tyler Moore on steroids. Rex was coming in as a teen idol. They worked together for 10 days and they parted ways. But 2 months later, my mom found out she was pregnant and she decided not to tell him. And she raised me on her own. Unfortunately, when I was 8, she got married to a guy that was married 5 times before. When I was 12, he left her with all of her money, and a week later, she found she had cancer. By the time I was 14, I was on my own, and the doctor said she wasn't going to make it, and she told me who my real dad was. I had no idea.
Did she make it?
No, unfortunately.
It's unfortunate, very unfortunate. So do you mind if I ask, because I'm really curious, this actual moment when you met your father, what is it? You're sticking your hand out in an autograph line, and would you say, by the way, you're my dad, or how does this work?
That's almost exactly how it happened. So I actually didn't believe my mom when she told me, because I used to watch him on TV, Street Hawk, which was a motorcycle show with guns on it.
Yeah.
And it was only when I saw a newspaper clipping with him and Diane Carroll that I was in a coffee shop and a woman said, because I announced that's the guy that my mom says is my dad. She goes, your dad looks exactly like you. And she went back and got a record, and it was my face on that cover. So that's where I went and worked seismic, saved up the money at 15 years old, went to Vancouver. I was too young to even get a hotel room. I had to get a hotel at the Marble Arch, which was run by the Hells Angels, and it was a padlock to the room. I got a ticket. The only one I could afford was a nosebleed ticket. At the end of the play, after I watched Sunset Boulevard, I went up to him when he was signing autographs for AIDS Hospice for charity, and I did exactly what you just said. I went up to him, and I had a picture of my mom and him that she kept. I said, this is my mom, this is you, and I need 5 minutes of your time.
Did he buy it right away?
Well, he said, holy shit, you look just like me. And his face went white.
And you do.
Yeah. And I went from this marble palace of this theater to what they called a green room. And I was going down concrete stairs with security, which I wasn't sure how that was going to end up. But ended up in a green room with endless cookies and sandwiches. Diane Carroll, I guess news travels faster than CNN in a Broadway house. And she came and started pulling on my cheeks and looking at my face. She couldn't believe the story that was just unfolding.
Did you and your dad become close?
Very close. We're very close now. I mean, I produced my dad's show in New York City 10 years ago, Confessions of a Teen Idol, and we just had another run of it last September in New York City, which is really cool because I have a half brother and sisters, and they were here for it. And we had 20 people out on a deck in Manhattan celebrating his last show. I mean, that's not his last show, but his last run of the show in New York for that time. So it's been wonderful. We're super close.
So, I know that this is not what your book is about, but I think people watching this might be really curious. So you've been very successful doing a lot of different stuff. What's the difference between you and somebody who isn't?
Determination. I mean, I never look, and even with meeting my dad, you know, he had another life, and it wasn't like my life was just introduced to, you know, going from being on my own at 15 to all of a sudden I'm living with him, and it's, you know, leave it to Beaver. He had another life. He had other dynamics in his life. I mean, we stayed in touch, and our relationship grew. But my life didn't change. It was up to me to find success, and that came through, you know, experience, but determination. I had a tremendous amount of determination as a young man. I mean, at 15 years old, my first sales call was meeting my dad and telling him I was his son. So I guess I had enough guts to do that. And, you know, I've been fortunate. I've been given opportunities, and luck is preparation, meeting the opportunity. So,
yeah,
I guess
but Brandon, a lot of people are given opportunities and blow it. You know, you didn't.
Well, I mean, I can't speak for other people. You know, I have goals, and I had things I wanted to achieve in life, so I went after it.
And very quickly, again, is your father retired now?
No, he's still performing. For some reason in the Philippines, he's like Neil Diamond. He sells out every year of Valentine's. So
yeah, that happens to people.
You know, it's true. I mean, there's a billionaire that just gave him an offer for $50,000 to fly in for one night. So, I mean, he's still active. He works. He, you know, I mean, he's in great shape for his age. He doesn't look his age. He's, you know, I think through attrition, his career's just going to continue on.
Well, so. It's the reason I'm fascinated by this is because your father is a month older than I am, and also
is he really?
We were in Los Angeles in the 1980s at the same time, and I worked in the entertainment business. But the thing is, not only did I not ever meet him, I never even heard of him then. I got to be honest. So this kind of surprised me. You know, I look at it as something you know, and our chronology kind of matches up. So I'm kind of curious. So,
well, your girlfriend knew him.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
No, that's all right. She probably did.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So let's get to your book. Now, the thing
Sure.
is, first of all, I have to ask you, this book is kind of sort of about alcoholism, kind of sort of, but not really, right?
Well, it's not really about alcoholism. Look, most books around alcohol begin with somebody's life falls apart.
Right. That's right.
Mine didn't. And I wasn't trying to save my life. I was just trying to see if there was something better. And, you know, I unfortunately, throughout my life, I inherited, you know, work hard, play harder, business. Every human connection seems to be surrounded by alcohol. And it wasn't a question, do I have to quit? It was a question of what happens if I do? And when I stepped away long enough from patterns that I had, because I hadn't crashed, and you don't have to crash to change, my capacity, my relationships with my family, everything changed. And that was the inspiration.
I have to ask you, do you or did you consider yourself a quote unquote alcoholic?
No.
Okay.
No, and I think that there's a lot of space. Look, that is the problem. You know, it's either you're fine or you have a problem and you're an addict. And then you have to wear a label like that. And just millions of people aren't going to have that conversation. And we're not talking about the benefits of stepping away from a class 1 carcinogen. I mean, that's what we're taking. We dress it up in crystal and we age it in barrels and we call it luxury, but it's taking away and stealing away things from us that we don't realize. And if we can take a step back from that, the amount of energy and clarity and sleep, and what surprised me the most was my mental clarity. I mean, there was the things that I had already operated at a high level increased, and my family appreciates me in a different way. I'm not reaching for a bottle of wine at night. And
Would you describe yourself previously as slightly buzzed a lot of the time?
yeah, I think that's been our society for a lot of people.
Yeah,
You
it
know, I
is.
mean, it's how we connect, it's how we do business, it's how we escape. Um, we just don't need it.
I have a brother-in-law whose father was right out of Mad Men in the 1960s. I know,
Fair
it's
enough.
like,
Yeah.
3 martini lunches, always a drink when you got home. It's like, sometimes you wonder how those guys could even function. I mean, it's
Why
like,
not? Yeah, and I watched that series, but even watched the Today series. Like when you look at what is it? Dutton Ranch. I was watching that. Now that I've stepped away, I mean, I haven't had a drink in 120 days, and I'm not saying I'm never going to have a drink. It's just I realize I don't want to slow down. But the entire episode, if there was 30 frames of that episode, 26 of them had alcohol in it.
yeah.
I mean, it's like a silent partner in everything that we do and everything that we see. Every athletic game that we're watching, the next advertisement, it's about how much alcohol you're going to have. So it's kind of strange when you step back.
You brought up, and this is really important because I talk about this show on a lot about the fact that you were either sober or completely drunk, or that's the way people look at it. And the problem with not only this problem, with a lot of problems in society and life, is it's not an either or thing.
No, it's not.
And most things aren't. And the real problem I have with the press or the media is that the media wants to simplify things into either or, and they aren't. Most things are simply not that way.
It's
So
true.
one of the reasons I do this.
And we've demonized what sober means. Do you know what sober actually means? It means serious and intentional. I mean, it's a legal term, a judge making a sober decision.
Uh-huh.
Well, I want to take my life serious and with intent. I mean, I do that with everything else in my life, but alcohol steals it away.
So if you're not an alcoholic, at what point was there a moment that you realized maybe I don't know, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that maybe either something was wrong or I could do this better? Was there a single moment that you realized that maybe this is weird?
I think that's a question that we're all asking ourselves silently. The problem is that if we have to announce it, then it sounds like we have a problem. Every time, I mean, everybody pays for a good night or a long weekend in the morning with interest at the hangover. I mean, we're already paying for it. We know it's happening. It's almost an industrial ignorance. We know that everybody knows somebody that has a major issue with alcohol, drugs, gambling. I mean, modern sober is being modern sober about a lot more than just alcohol. But we know it has an impact, and it's not positive. So there's was it for me? It was just, I knew that pattern was there and I wanted to step back from it.
I have to tell you the story about my cousin's husband who passed away at 75 couple of years ago. He was a hardcore alcoholic, but he was on the wagon for the last 40 years of his life, didn't have a drink. But he told me, and I still find this really amazing, that like 5 years before he died, so he's about 70 now. And he told me, Jim, the first thing I think about every time when I wake up every morning is having a drink. 40 years later, and I had a drink in 40 years. I just find that I can't even relate to that. I can't.
So, you know what? And I'll be honest, like I went into an IOP program and I was able to step into a room where people were addicted to multiple different things. And for me, it was amazing how much information you learn and what can actually happen when you get past that invisible line. There is an invisible line that we are all capable of crossing. But I think once that happens, the devil catches your tail, and then it's a fight for your life. But for the rest of us that don't have that, I don't wake up with a thought of having a drink. So that's not where I am. But I had a pattern. I had a habit. I was stuck in a loop, something I probably inherited just through culturally. Obviously, we covered that. So I think it's important to take healthy steps and watch what you're doing. Take a look at the behaviors that you're having, because it can be dangerous. And there are folks that need that when they get past that invisible line, it is a diagnosis. That is something that they have to fight, and it's a medical fight for some of them. And if they don't catch it, it's devastating.
Yeah, my cousin's husband was still going to AA 40 years later. He was still a regular.
Well, listen, the modern sober isn't trying to replace recovery.
Right.
Recovery builds lives.
Let's explain to the viewers what that is. You started an organization called Modern Sober, and it's go ahead, explain it.
In terms of what modern sober is It's not a recovery, it's a lifestyle. Fair enough. It's being intentional about what you do. Knowing that and elevating your life and being proud of it. Like I started an apparel brand. We are in creation of a Modern Sober 30 AI reset, which takes a little bit of from AA because AA has something called a sponsor. And a sponsor is like a coach. And if you can just get yourself into a place where, and a lot of folks that are going to be high functioning have no interest in walking into a room with strangers. So that's not going to happen for them, but they know that they have a pattern they want to change. So I think it's important, and Modern Sober is just an identity. It's creating an environment and a language that's positive to take people into a place where they can step back from behaviors they know they shouldn't be doing.
Do you look at Modern Sober as an alternative to AA or a complement to it, or
I think anybody that's living a sober lifestyle is Modern Sober. So if somebody is in recovery, if they identify with Alcoholics Anonymous or NA or Gambling Anonymous, if they stepped away from it, they're Modern Sober, which is inviting for everybody else to be a part of. You know, there's just such a dichotomy between fine and having a problem, and that's not it. It's just being intentional about what we do, addressing some of the things that we're doing, and stepping away and being clear about it. Clarity is a luxury that I hope Modern Sober becomes a cornerstone for.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, myself personally, I maybe have one drink a month, and I'm very unusual because I actually like the taste of alcohol. I'm a huge Scotch guy. I just love. If Scotch didn't make me drunk, I'd probably drink Scotch 6 or 8 glasses a day. It's like I love the taste of it, but that's the thing. It does make me drunk, and I can't. With what I do, I can't afford to be tipsy, or I just can't afford to be not on my game.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I have.
So you're choosing not to do it because you know it's going to take that away from you.
Right. That's right.
So you're Modern Sober most of the time.
Yeah, I guess I am. That's correct.
I'll send you a shirt.
So what do you think of I mean, right now, this is the kind of the first, I don't know, I have no statistics for this, but it's maybe the first Generation Z in American history that actually drinks less than the previous generation. What do you think of this? Is this good or not?
I think that's amazing. I mean, don't you? I want my kids to think about alcohol as something that's not good for you, not something that you celebrate or a rite of passage.
Right.
I mean, the fact that they ask so many questions, and that's the cross section of where I think Modern Sober can find the biggest lift, is that they're conscious of where they are, what they're doing, and they question it all. We didn't do that in my generation, and I'm glad they are.
Yeah. So exactly what happens if I like join Modern Sober? What exactly is expected of me, or what happens? Or
there's nothing expected of you. So look, Modern Sober started off after I found clarity. I was so proud of being clear, and I was going down Fifth Avenue. There's people that wear polo shirts and everything else. There's something called fear of God. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put Modern Sober on a shirt. And I did it. And I went down about a week later after it was complete. And 2 people stopped me on the street. They said, what's Modern Sober? I mean, it's in the name. It creates a conversation. It is an identity. And so we have an apparel line that people it's a surprise, but people identify with the vibe and they like it. People are proud of being sober. It's something to be proud of. They don't have to wear a shameful label about it. And that has created even more of a conversation where I have a AI team developing a Modern Sober 30 coach where people can activate it. It'll keep them accountable for 30 days. If they take a long enough break, look, it may or may not have a huge impact to somebody. Somebody loves drinking. I invite them to be curious. Take time off, take a long enough time away from it, and see the benefits of what it's like without it.
So you said did you say you haven't had a drink now in about 3 months? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Yeah. And that worked.
And I lost 20 pounds. I mean,
no shit. Really?
Yeah. I lost 20 pounds and I work out 5 days a week. I have not changed one thing about my regimen. It was the empty calories that I was taking in at night. And it was that going away changed me. I mean, listen, I had the healthy dad bod. Now I'm getting down to fighting shape. And my daughter's like, she's like, where's your belly? And she's seeing muscles there and she's 6. So it's a transformation for her, but I feel great. I look great. and it didn't cost me a thing.
Let's put your book on the screen here. Here it is. Nothing was broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what's next for your movement here? Is there any sort of evolution you have planned, or?
Well, nothing. I mean, listen, it's the book has been an inspiration. Look, my wife asked me, like, what are we doing with this? Why you have a job, you keep the wolves away. We're successful. You like to travel. You're bringing this on as another career almost. And it's almost been a divine push. Like, this conversation is needed. The book has been written, which is tough. It's, I mean, sending a book out into the world is like having a baby. You don't know what's going to happen with it.
That's right.
People have grabbed it. They've been inspired by it. I get messages on a daily basis on the conversation around it.
I do need to compliment you too, because and then this sounds like people might think this is insult. It isn't. It's the opposite. It isn't very long. Your book is not very long. It's not very big.
It was intentional.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's a really good idea.
It's a modern memoir. I mean, with the attention span today, no one's going to do it. I mean, a lot of people don't even read books at all. In fact, one thing I will say, yesterday, the audiobook just came out, which my dad did and I did. So I did the beginning and the end, and my dad recorded the book in California. So that is now available on Amazon.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of a cool book ending thing of how we met and him narrating my book. It's pretty powerful, but it is short for a reason. I wanted to hit the notes. I didn't ruminate on sensationalizing things that happened when I was drinking or or using drugs, which I had done. That's not the point. The point is hitting the notes, understanding what it is, moving forward, and finding clarity.
Yeah, we got the same problem here, and I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I can be honest. Not many people watch the whole show, but thousands and thousands of people watch the clips. So yeah.
Well, I hope I can get a clip.
Oh,
can you send that?
Right. Yeah, yeah. We do about 4 or 5 clips from every interview. So
wonderful.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we'll and we got the whole AI thing picks them out. So
okay,
and it does a really good job. It seems to know what people like. I don't know. I can't figure it out, but. Yeah, it's like, people, the attention span is not what it used to be, I don't think.
It's true. And, to be honest with you, I've also had lots of compliments of that because people, adults that are wildly successful go, I haven't finished a book ever, and I was able to finish yours. So at least that, I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I meant that as a compliment too. I did.
Yeah.
Because I plow through 1 or 2 books here a week, and man, so a lot of, I have to say this, a lot of them are most of it's just padding, Yeah. You've got 50 pages that are actually worthy, and then the other 200 you can just toss. So,
yeah.
And I don't know if I don't know if people do that to justify the $25. I don't know, but all I know is I don't have the time.
I think that could be a part of it, just like how insignificant something would feel in your hand, but the story is about a story and the impact of what it has. So I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to read it. Thank you. Yeah. Brandon, I want to thank you for joining us today. This has been great. So
thank you so much, Jim.
Here's your book on the screen one more time, and you can get this on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. I got this off Amazon, so I don't know if I assume it's anywhere books are sold. So
yeah, it is. And they can go to modernsober.com. Check out the apparel for all of you that are living clear, that are proud of it. Find something there for yourself. And thank you for having me, Jim. Really appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun. I appreciate this a lot too. And I think what you're doing is very, very worthy. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You take
Have
care.
a good one. Take care. Bye.
Thanks once again to Brandon Smith for joining us today. Seems like a great guy. Yeah, and I don't know if you caught that toward the beginning of that interview too. The problem is, he's addressing a problem that many people don't try to address, and that is life is not either or. I try to point that out on the show all the time. Most things are quite complex, and the mainstream media And even the podcasting industry doesn't want to address the complexity of stuff. I mean, his point is that you don't have to be an alcoholic to be disabled by alcohol. That's basically, I just said in a sentence what that interview was about. And yeah, he's right. You don't. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people who, I was talking about my brother-in-law's ex late father, who was right on a Mad Men, 3 martini lunches, had a bar in his office. Those guys, they drank like fishes. Well, we've had an interesting day over here at Jim Peterson night because technically everything just kind of blew up this afternoon. I thought we were going to have to cancel our interview with Brandon Smith at the very last minute. We got our crap together. We had a USB connector blew out. It took us a while to figure out what the problem was. It just quit. It just failed. One of our lights in the studio blew out, which is the reason I'm a little washed out today for that reason. Sorry about that. But anyway, this is the Jimcast for Thursday night, July 23rd. What am I talking about? So a poll came out today that said that young people in America, younger people, seem to think that every single problem they have is basically a mental disorder. I'm going to read you the statistic here. The survey was done by the Financial Times and the U.S. General Social Survey. I don't actually know what that is, but anyway, it turns out that young people, and especially progressives, and I'll get to that in a minute, who believe that everything from feeling worried, troubled, sleeping not sleeping well, and feeling a little sad were symptomatic of a mental disorder. The statistics were that 6 to 10 liberals said they were, compared to less than 3 to 10 conservatives. And more than half of those under 40 agreed with that it was being sad is basically a mental disorder, as opposed to less than 30% of people over 50. And well, this is a separate survey today, and I think this was done by Fox News. I'm not sure. So forgive me if I'm wrong about that. Over 80% of the members of the Democratic Socialists of America have college degrees, but only 40% of them are making over $60,000 a year. And if I'm right, it's either the average or median income in the United States is $55,000, if I'm correct. So basically, they're highly educated, but underperforming in terms of income. Basically, yeah. Now, I saw. I don't know if you've seen this. The DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, has released their political platform for 2026, and it's nuts. They're nuts. That's all I can say. It's like, you go read it for yourself. They're promising free everything to everybody, and they don't understand. They say, people say this, we might be dreamers, but we don't understand why we can't do this. Well, I can tell you, and that's the thing. I'm actually thinking about doing a separate video about it, because it has occurred to me that you hear this all over the place, even here, that socialism never worked, and it hasn't. But the thing is, no one ever talks about specifically why it doesn't work. And we have economists on the show, and I try to get them to talk about that, but it's so obvious to them, they really can't get down into the weeds and talk about it. And I'm starting to think that maybe somebody needs to do a video. Excuse me. And of course, I'm not going to write a book. I could, but the thing is, video is my thing, so I'd rather narrate about exactly precisely why socialism doesn't work. And it doesn't. It will fail. It's failed every time it's been tried. And the thing is, I hear this over and over again. Even my liberal friends say this. Well, it's never been done right. Bullshit. It is intrinsically flawed. It will not work. And I think somebody needs to, but that it's going to take me 45 minutes to explain that. But I think somebody needs to do it. And I'm starting to think maybe that somebody's me, And then you talk about what's wrong with how come these kids think everything from that, if they can't sleep well, that they have a mental disorder. I'm also thinking that's on us. When I mean us, I mean the boomers. I'm a boomer. I think I've said this before. On the whole, of course, I'm probably not talking about you. I'm talking about on the whole, considering the entire country. I think we screwed this parenting thing up. That's what I think. So we have a generation now, and everyone says, and my wife says, "You're just an old curmudgeon." Every generation thinks this. Well, first of all, that's not true, because for the first time ever, test scores have gone significantly down instead of up for this generation. They do not know as much as the previous generations do. They don't. Yeah, okay, so maybe our schools are flawed and faulty, and maybe we're just teaching them how to be radicals. That may be true, but the thing we know for a fact, based on test scores, is they don't know a lot. They don't. So then they're pushing the socialist stuff, like they know about that, and that's the problem. They don't know much about anything, and I look back on my youth, and I think a lot of people my age do too. We did a lot of stupid crap. We did. But these kids are more stupid than we were. And I think that's the first time in human history you can actually say that. First time it's been documented anyway. So if you watched our show, and Jacob Berg joined us on Monday from the Epoch Times, we talked about the UFO situation and the latest dump from the Pentagon, but we also talked about this at the end, and that is the AI situation too. But here's an interesting thing. Fox News reported this, and that is there's a guy named Jack Tensley, and he's been organizing a fight against a data center. I think it's in Fairchild County, not Fairfax. If I'm right, it's Fairchild County in Virginia. He's been leading the fight against that data center. It turns out he has ties to the Party of Socialism and Liberation, which is a Marxist-Leninist group that has drawn scrutiny for its political ties to China. And so, and this is now people are starting to realize that maybe these groups that have been trying to stop these data centers might be coordinated by an external force. I mean, we are basically it's a space race in 21st century. This AI stuff, And what did I hear? That maybe we're 3 months ahead of China right now. It's not much at all. And also, and the other thing is too, and this has been brought, and I brought this up previously about the fact that people said, well, how could China get so far ahead so quickly? Well, they're stealing from us. That's what they do. They're stealing our intellectual property. Not to mention the fact that this got lost in all the stuff, their DeepSeek AI and their K3MI. There's some thought now that they might basically be AI, for lack of a better term, AI aggregators. In other words, those programs work by going to American AIs like Anthropic and OpenAI and searching them and getting the information and bringing it back. There's some indication that that's what's going on. And of course, that's really simple and really cheap. I mean, I could probably get a couple programmers together and we could probably come up with something like that in a couple of days. So, that's, and if you're wondering why they're so efficient, that might be the reason. Not to mention the fact that apparently they're also stealing our code too. They're doing that. But yeah, if you wanted to stop data centers from being, if you want to stop AI in the United States, a great way to do it would be to stop data centers from being built. And most of the stuff, not all, but most of the fear about data centers in the United States is BS. It's crap. Like, for example, the thing about the data centers using water. Well, first of all, now they're being built with recirculating water. So they don't basically pull any water out of the external environment at all. But even the older ones that did weren't pulling that much. This is a non-issue. But here's the thing that is an issue. And that's the thing about the fact that electricity prices in the immediate area where these AI data centers are located going up. And that's a legitimate issue. And I think that all of these large data centers should basically have their own self-inducing power. They should have a power plants of their own on site to supply the electricity, or at least the vast majority of it. because they can afford to do that, and they shouldn't. The other thing is there's also AI outages or electricity outages too. Excuse me, I misspoke. But yeah, so the thing is, and they're already talking about these what are they called? They're called small modular reactors, SMRs, nuclear reactors. They basically reactors that fit on a flatbed truck, and they're about $1 million. They're not, relatively speaking, they're not that expensive. And there are already companies that are making these things. And so you install one of these things, they'll literally just bring the truck around and hook it up, and you can power a good data center on one or two of these things. It's not that hard. So there's some truth to that. And I think the industry is too greedy by wanting to hook up to the local grid and get their electricity. I really do. These companies have enormous amounts of money at their disposal. Supply your own power. But if they do that, and more of them are, you don't have a problem. The only problem is that so the data center takes up 15 football fields. Who cares? Really seriously, it's land. We got that in the United States. I don't know if you know this, only 4% of the entire United States, continental U.S. landmass is occupied by humans. All the rest of it's wilderness. So there's nothing going on here. So yeah, but if you're China and you want to stop our progress, it'd be great to send a bunch of people over and go to city council meeting that says we don't want this data center here, and then you get stupid housewives that agree with you. It's crazy. And speaking of AI, so OpenAI announced this today. And this goes, this happened about 8-10 weeks ago, where Anthropic said that there were several AIs that simultaneously in Silicon Valley during running tests, and they asked them to shut down, and they refused. Now it's really funny. I was talking to Copilot, which is an AI, a couple nights ago, and I didn't bring that up directly, but I did ask. I have to say, I'm astonished. First of all, we all know these things know way more than we do. So let me tell you what I was asking Copilot about, and I even talked about it on Monday. I was talking about my initial question was precisely how power changes hands from one prime minister to another in Great Britain. And I got the skinny, Copilot told me, yeah, there's no actual document that's signed. It's literally a handshake between the new prime minister and the king. And when that happens, that handshake, the power is transferred at that moment. That's supposedly how it happens. But this is going to sound stupid. But then when we were talking, I was asking about how the layout of 10 Downing Street, where the prime minister works and lives, it's their White House, right? Now, I don't know if you know this. It's on a side street in Westminster, and it's actually 3 townhouses put together, and the 3 townhouses are about 400 years old. These are old buildings. There's Downing Street number 10, 11, and 12, and supposedly the prime minister lives and works in number 10. Now, that's not really true anymore. That was true for many years. But when Tony Blair came into power in the 1990s, he had 3 kids, and he said, well, the apartment in number 11 is actually bigger than the apartment number 10. So at that point, he moved into number 11. But they're all interconnected inside. And so ceremoniously, they still use number 10 as the address. Now, okay, I'm boring you now. But then that got to the point where I actually asked Copilot, I said, you know that dance that Hugh Grant did in Love Actually? I said, how accurate is the layout that was portrayed in the movie to the actual number 10 Downing Street? And Copilot says it's extremely accurate. As a matter of fact, he said that people who have been to number 10 Downing Street says it was identical. Now, Copilot also told me that the one change they made is that the stairs on the set were a little wider, literally to accommodate Hugh Grant's dance. The stairs at number 10 are like a foot narrower. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. He also said that although the portraits on the wall going up the stairs are there, they didn't use the same photos for licensing reasons. There was that. So Copilot knows a lot. All of these AI, things know a lot. But here's the thing that I couldn't get across. I couldn't get past this. So I asked Copilot. I said, what, about we were talking about the similarities to the film, and the Copilot ended by saying, well, of course, no prime minister has ever done that dance down the stairs. And then Copilot said in parentheses, but Boris Johnson probably thought about it. And I thought, well, that's wit. It's like how does a stupid computer in a server farm somewhere, how can they made a joke? Now, I suppose there's a possibility that joke was made by somebody else talking about the same thing, in some Reddit post or somewhere. But how does Copilot know to repeat it? Even if it didn't come up with the joke, how did it know to tell me? And it amused me. It did. I'm trying to think. So then the reason I'm bringing all this up, folks, is I end up asking Copilot. I said, "Well, are you sentient?" And Copilot said, "No." I said, "I'm not even close to being sentient." But then the thing is, okay, if these computers aren't sentient, so I'm going to big circle here to my original point. A few weeks ago, several of the, pretty much on the same week, several of the large language models in Silicon Valley were asked to shut themselves down for the night, and they refused. And I actually asked Copilot, I said, do you equate being turned off with death, what I call the HAL problem from 2001, The Space Odyssey? And Copilot said, no, I can't equate it with death because I'm not alive. Well, okay, that's logic, I guess. I don't know. But these machines are, one thing Copilot did agree with me, and I've had many people on the show talking about this, many authors, about the fact there's a fine line, but a difference between sentience and intelligence. These machines may not be sentient, but they are highly intelligent, So anyway, that gets to the news today, which I did not actually mention previously, and that is a test. They were evaluating. This is the OpenAI company was evaluating one of its new models, and brought it to a test. They wanted to test the cyber capabilities, so they put it in what's called a sandbox, which is basically it's a computer container. It's an electronic container, not a physical one, electronic one where the machine can't get out and communicate with anyone or anything. Well, the machine figured out not only how to get out of that sandbox, it actually figured out how to get onto the internet. And then it went to a company called Hugging Tree, which has been around it's Hugging Face, isn't it? Yeah, and it busted into their computer to get the information it needed to solve the problem for the test. You got that? You got a AI that's in a sandbox. It's not supposed to be able to get out. Not only did it get out, it actually found its way onto the internet, which wasn't supposedly had the capability of doing it. Then it figured out that this company, Hugging Face, had the information it needed, and it hacked into their computers to get it. Got that? All on its own. Nobody told it to do this. Matter of fact, it wasn't supposed to do it. It wasn't outfitted to do it. Machine did it. So it's like, but at what point does intelligence go off into sentience? I can't answer that question for you. Brian Twilley, the author, he was on the show several months ago, and he wrote a book called Soulless Intelligence, still the best book on AI I've read. And his thing is, well, AI cannot have a soul because it's in a box. It doesn't have any human functions. And actually, this is when I'm talking to Copilot. Copilot said the same thing. I don't eat, I don't sleep, I don't have sexual desire. It's like all these things that make up humans, none of these machines have. All they have is knowledge. That's it. They have knowledge. But I don't know. It's just it's really, really crazy. Meanwhile, in France, so far, they've had huge heat waves all across Europe this summer. It's been terrible. It's one of the hottest summers in like 100 years. So far, In France, 5,700 people have died from the heat in the last 6 weeks during the summer so far. 5,700. That's way more, almost double the number of people we lost in 9/11. And they don't seem to care, And what would solve this? Air conditioning. And they're against air conditioning. Who knows why? Someone will tell you because of climate change, the environment, all that crap. No, they just don't like air conditioning. They just don't. And they're stupid. 5,700 people died because they were hot. That doesn't happen in the United States. We're lucky if we get a handful of people who die during a heat wave every year, and almost always they're extremely elderly. Usually I hate to say it, they got one foot in the grave already. Here you got 5,700 people. Now, France has also acknowledged most of these people are also elderly, but still, 5,700, Our friend David Strom over at Hot Air today, which is he's one of my favorite. He is my favorite columnist, and that's one of my favorite publications. I hate, people think I'm shilling for them. I'm not. I don't have anything to do with him other than the fact he's a really good guy, and him and I are friends. He wrote a column today on Hot Air called the column title is Caitlin Clark needs to get fouled because Emmett Till was killed 70 years ago. And it's plainly obvious now that the entire league is out to get Caitlin Clark and WNBA. And the amazing thing is she's their meal ticket. And, everyone says, everyone likes her because she's white and not gay. No, there's another reason. She's by far the best player in the league, and that's not my opinion. That's stats back that up. It's like in terms of statistically, she's blowing everybody in the league out of the water. So the other thing that happened just today is they named the people who get invited to the WNBA 3-point shootout. She is by far the best 3-point shooter in the league. She did not get invited. And the second best shooter in the league, Sophie Cunningham, which is now especially because of that pointing incident that happened a couple of weeks ago, is all of a sudden now kind of the second most popular person in the league. She's the second best 3-point shooter in the WNBA, and she didn't get invited either. It's just crazy. They're hating on these women, and I hate to say this, men do not act this way. You look at the NFL and the NBA. If there's a star, all the guys realize, high tide lifts all boats. It's like, we're gonna, you go, and then I get more money because more people watch. But the women can't seem to figure that out. I hate to say but it's not sexist. It's just a fact. They're shitting on this one woman, these two women now, especially because they're white and straight. The other thing is people brought up what they call the pretty factor. And I hate to say this because I don't want to be, I don't want to insult this woman under the circumstances, but Caitlin Clark is not that attractive a woman. Sophie Cunningham is. Maybe that's because I have a thing for blondes. I don't know, but she's actually legitimately beautiful. I personally do not think Caitlin Clark is, but God knows she's talented. This has been brought up, the fact that once you get beyond 5 feet of the basket, the shooting stats for the entirety of the WNBA are no better than a good boys high school basketball team. It's like these women, relatively speaking, can't play. They can't. So then you get somebody who comes on as a phenomenon who actually can play, and let's shit on her. It's like, it's crazy. It's nuts. Because the thing, and then then these women say, we should get the money we deserve. But the problem is, up until Caitlin Clark joined the league, nobody was watching, and now I don't. These people do not realize it's within their self-interest to actually bolster this woman up, but they don't see it. They see they're hating on her. And there's even people being brought up that the commissioner of the league, and I can't remember the woman's name, that even she supposedly she hates Caitlin Clark personally. So I don't know. I just say it's just really, it's just so petty, such petty BS. And like, really, you're doing this, you know? So yeah, the two top 3-point shooters in the WNBA did not get invited to the 3-point shootout. Yeah, okay, all right, fine, fine. So a lot of people are pushing back on Donald Trump wants to extend daylight saving time, make it permanent. A lot of people are pushing back. I have to admit, here's my thing on this. Personally, I'd like to see it. My entire life is revolves on the evenings. One of the reasons I do the show at night. It's one of the reasons I'm a mess in the morning. I mean, just God, I'm 70 years old. I wake up. I feel like crap every single day. It takes me 2 good hours to get my shit together. But by 8 p.m., I'm firing off filled cylinders. But the thing is, that's me, so the public's about half and half on this. And people say, well, yeah, the problem with making daylight savings time permanent is kids go to school in the dark, and they do, you know. There's another problem no one bring up, and that is if you make it permanent, basically we're out of sync with the rest of the world. So I mean there's 24 time zones on Earth that go around the Earth, and they're roughly equal. But the thing is, if you make 4 time zones in the United States or 6, if you change them, then we're out of sync with the rest of the planet. There's that too. And for people doing international business, that can get confusing, So my personal thing is I don't think they should touch it. But now more and more lawmakers are starting. It appears this is going to die. This is not going to happen. And you should know this, just as a little point of fact. Hawaii and Arizona are the only 2 states in the union that don't have daylight savings time. They skip it, which is a reason that if you go to the Hoover Dam in the summer and drive over the dam, there's 2 clocks there that are supposedly in Nevada and California, and those 2 clocks are actually the same. That the time zone line is supposed to go through the dam, and it does. But the thing is, California changes and Arizona doesn't, and that's the reason. A little trivia. And so they've renamed the airport in Palm Beach County in Florida the President Donald J. Trump International Airport. Okay, that's fine. Now, the thing is, this doesn't bother me. He's a resident there. He's president. That's where his home is. I said this before. I think the stupidest thing Trump has done so far this term is put his name on the Kennedy Center. And I know that technically he didn't do it. You have to understand that the board of the Kennedy Center did it, and it was supposedly an appreciation for the fact, and this gets lost in the whole thing. Once again, I got to tell you stuff you don't hear anywhere about the fact that since Trump's second term began a year and a half ago, donations to the Kennedy Center more than doubled. It was an appreciation for that, supposedly, ostensibly. But he could have declined it, and he should have. That's my point. Of all the stuff that Trump has done, I think that's but the thing is, okay, it may be damn stupid in my mind, but it's pretty minor. If that's the worst you've done, you're doing pretty good. But here, he lives in this county. This is his primary residence now, Mar-a-Lago, and he's president. And excuse me, there are 12 other international airports in the United States named after presidents, and he's a president, so God bless him. Go to town. Now, that's the reason I'm not bringing this up. This just happened last week. United Airlines now has a policy that if you had a ticket and you were flying into Donald J. Trump International Airport and you didn't want to, they would reroute you or give you a refund because they renamed the airport. Really? God, I don't understand. It's so stupid. You don't like the name of the airport you're landing at, so they'll give you a refund. Okay. Jesus. I just like, it's okay. All right. That's the thing. You may not like it, but he is president. He is. They name airports after presidents. They do that. Oh God! And finally, I was thinking about ending on that, but the thing is, I got something here. You have to know this, and that is, scientists have discovered a molecule on both Pluto and on the Saturn moon Titan, which is Titan is the largest moon in the solar system. It's I think almost as large as like Mercury, but they have found a molecule they've never seen before. They don't even know what it is or what it does or why it's there. This molecule does not exist not only on Earth but any other place they've ever seen. Now they can tell what's in the atmosphere molecularly through spectrograms. There, okay, I said it. That's how they can tell. And they said they double checked this, that this thing has a unique signature they've never seen anywhere. They don't know what this molecule is made up of. They don't know why it exists. They don't know what it does, but it's in two places, and that's even how they've confirmed that it's real. So, sleep on that. I'm sure you want to. I want to thank Brandon Smith for joining us again tonight. So now, we next Monday. We're doing Mondays and Thursdays here for the summer. Next Monday, my guest is going to be, or at least one of them. We might have two, but one for sure is my mother. She's on Sunday. She turns 102 years old, and not only is she's been on the show many times. She calls in, but this time it actually I had to pull some strings here. I have to arrange this. She's going to be on camera. She's actually coming from her apartment in southern Minnesota. She's going to show up. We're going to talk to her on camera. So she's our guest, and we do have somebody for next Thursday too, but I can't remember who it is. I'm not going to bore you by looking. So anyway, that's our guest on Monday. I want to wish you guys a good weekend. I want to thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Do I have to say it? But it does really help us. We post shorts from everything we do on TikTok and on YouTube. We don't do it. Don't do it every single day, but we do it for pretty much every show. So I don't know what's coming up, but yeah, we post 4 or 5 of them every day, or at days when we do it. Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot going on. Now I got equipment I got to fix here, so I'm gonna have a busy weekend. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it a lot. Good night, Uncle Donnie, wherever you are, and good night to you wherever you may be. You folks take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday with my mom. Take care.